Before we get into today's topic, I need to make clear that I am in no way making light of or ridiculing the victims of this man or the families of said victims. And I say victims because I believe that the person covering up a crime is just as culpable as the person who committed said crime, regardless of whether it was done through deliberate corruption or criminal incompetence. With that being said, today's biggest loser is FAHMY Malak. And this is a brief cringe compilation of his career. FAHMY Malak was born in El Ghuli, Egypt, and obtained a medical degree from the Cairo University School of Medicine. He practiced internal medicine before emigrating to the United States in 1969. He interned at the Methodist Hospital in Gary, Indiana, and would complete his residency in clinical and anatomic pathology at the Allegheny Coroner's Office in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He served as a medical examiner in Pennsylvania and Illinois before becoming the chief medical examiner for the state of Arkansas in 1979. Given his background, one would identify him as an intelligent, well-put-together person on his academic success in Egypt alone. With his success in the States, one would paint him as a model citizen that we should all aspire to become, giving back to his community and the society around him. This is on his biography alone. The reality, however, couldn't be further from that lie. His most well-known screw-up would occur on August 23rd, 1987, more commonly known as the Boys on the Tracks. There are more than a few excellent videos covering this case as a whole, and even covering the alleged drug trafficking ring that may or may not be going on in Arkansas to this day. However, I will be focusing more on the part Malak would play in this case. In short, train operators reported seeing what appeared to be bodies laying on a set of train tracks, covered up by a green tarp as the train they were on sped towards them. Upon contact, the train operators reported that the impact residue was more purple and viscous compared to normal. Unfortunately, this isn't an unusual occurrence for operators, as deer and other wild animals have a habit of wandering onto train tracks, as well as tormented people, with the intention of a swift end. That detail is important, however. A purple and viscous spray is common in deoxygenated blood. EMTs on the scene noted that the boys were dead prior to the impact. The police, however, would immediately treat it as an accidental death. The tarp would never be found, and the police would state that all 4 operators on the train were hallucinating. Those boys' names were Don Henry, age 16, and Kevin Ives, age 17. A week after being identified, the state would send medical examiner Dr. FAHMY Malak. Malak would rule that their cause of death was a marijuana overdose, leading them to fall into a stupor on the train tracks and then being unable to move due to said intoxication. He would claim that an approximation of 20 marijuana cigarettes was the cause. The family of one of the boys would bring in 2 different medical examiners, and both would question Malak's ruling. Dr. Joseph Burton would state that there was a small amount of THC in the boy's system, but it was a minimal amount. He also found that before the impact, Kevin's head was caved in with something solid, and Don had been stabbed multiple times in the back. Dr. Burton would also state that Malak sawed up and destroyed much of what remained of the boys, to the point where it was difficult to put anything together. Dr. Burton speculated that the boys could have had several more injuries happened to them before death. But Malak, through incompetence or malice, made that impossible. When confronted about it, Malak would claim that the outrage towards him was due to him being Egyptian, and go on rants about racism. Malak would go on and have a hand in the autopsy of one of the people with information on the death of the two boys, and would make a joke out of his profession on that case as well. James Millen was found decapitated in his home. State Examiner Malak initially ruled death by natural causes, brought on by an ulcer. He would also claim that the head was missing due to Millen's very small dog having ate the whole thing. Yes, skull included. Millen's head was later found in a trash bin several blocks away. Malak would then state that the dog had simply regurgitated the intact head. This would lead to a hearing where Malak's findings were first seriously challenged, where Malak would reportedly rise up out of the witness box and grant a special dispensation. With his usual venomous charisma, he would turn and face the parents, witnesses, and prosecutors challenging his rulings. He looked them all in the eyes, and the piece of shit told them, quote, "I want you to know that I forgive you for everything," with his trademark disgusting sneer. On June 1985, Raymond P. Albright, age 50, of Mountain Home, was found in his yard, dead from gunshot wounds. The night prior, Albright had been arrested on charges of theft, and Malak would rule his death a suicide. Albright had been shot 5 times in the chest. Malak's lawyer, Larry Carpenter, said that the pistol was a semi-automatic pistol, capable of rapid fire, and that the pattern of wounds suggested that the shots were fired in quick succession. In August 1988, an autopsy ruling by Malak was challenged by the Pulaski County coroner, Steve Nawajijic. In this case, an elderly nursing home patient was ruled by Malak to have died of natural causes. Nawajijic, however, believed that the man had been beaten to death. He would call a coroner's inquest, and after only minutes of testimony, the jury agreed unanimously with Nawajijic. On the same day, the State Crime Lab Board recommended that Malak's salary be raised by $14,000 from $81,000 to $95,000. On June 14, 1989, Andrew Smith, aged 50, who police claim shot himself, was declared brain dead at University Hospital in Little Rock. Life support would be withdrawn, and Malak told officers that the order to end life support was given by a deputy county coroner, Malcolm. Malcolm had not consulted Smith's family, and Malak would state that he would have to rule that, quote, Malcolm killed him, end quote. Police investigating Malak's accusation discovered that the attending physician had used a medical symbol on Smith's chart to show that life support was ended after the family had been consulted. The director of the state health department said Malak had apparently mistaken the symbol to mean without family consultation, and apparently misread the chart to mean that permission to end life support had come from Malcolm. Larry Carpenter, Malak's lawyer, would state that Malak had apologized for his mistake. On August 18, 1990, Gregory Stevens, aged 25, was fatally shot while he was standing on the front porch of his home. Prosecutor Paul R. Boson brought Ernest D. Lemons, age 21, a parolee, to trial on a murder charge. Witnesses said that Stevens had been shot from the street 40 feet away. When Malak took the stand, he said that Stevens had been shot point blank. Deputy Prosecutor Bruce McPhee was stunned. He knew his case was doomed and asked that the charges be dismissed. Prosecutor Boson, angry at being blindsided, sought an evaluation from 3 outside pathologists. Each said that Stevens had not been shot point blank, and one said it seemed that Malak had studied the wrong tissue samples. A DNA analysis confirmed that either blood samples or tissue samples that Malak used had come from another corpse. Larry Carpenter, Malak's lawyer, would state that Malak was, quote, shocked by the DNA results. I have to apologize to you for not being able to go into more detail on these cases I've told you about. I also apologize for not being able to get into all the other cases and speculations surrounding Malak. There is just so much more than bad rulings by Malak that go into them. Here are a few that I encourage you all to look into if you're in the mood to be frustrated. The cases of David Michael and William Horn in 1983 and 1985 respectively. The case of Olivia Ward in 1989, his connection to the Clintons, in particular, the specifics of the Susan Deere case in 1981, as well as the details surrounding Robert McConaughey's death, a pathologist who claimed to have been forced to resign by the powers that be. Malak would die on Tuesday, August 21st, 2018, at age 85, in Clearwater, Florida. While it would be impolite to say how I feel about his death, believe me when I say you and I most likely feel the same about this individual. It is also important to note that Malak does not have a Wikipedia page, and the pages mentioning him are quite small and threadbare.
Hey! Shut up and take your meds.
No, I don't want to.
I said take your fucking meds!